the Yellow River Stone Forest, a landscape both stark and stunning, where towering limestone pillars rise from the earth, a testament to nature's enduring power. On this day, a different kind of power was on display, the power of human endurance, tested to its limits amidst the unforgiving beauty of the Gansu Mountains. 100 kilometers they came to conquer. 100 kilometers of rugged terrain, winding through canyons and climbing steep slopes. A grueling test for even the most seasoned ultra-marathon runner, drawn to the challenge, the camaraderie, the allure of the unknown. They came from across China, these athletes, each with their own story, their own motivations, their own dreams. The air crackled with anticipation, a mix of excitement and nervous energy. Flags fluttered in the breeze, a colorful contrast to the muted grays and browns of the surrounding landscape. The starting horn echoed through the canyons, and with it, a wave of runners surged forward, their silhouettes dwarfed by the towering stone giants that surrounded them. The early miles unfolded under a deceptively clear sky. The sun beat down, a relentless presence in the vastness of the mountains. Runners settled into their paces, their breaths forming small clouds in the cool morning air. The initial stages of the race took them through a relatively flat section of the course, the stone forest looming like silent sentinels on either side. Conversations flowed, words exchanged between gasps for air, shared jokes and stories a testament to the camaraderie forged in the crucible of endurance sports. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the undulating terrain. Runners shed layers, their bodies glistening with sweat as they pushed onward. The terrain grew increasingly challenging, the path winding ever upwards, switchbacking across the face of the mountain. Then, the wind picked up. The sky, once a brilliant blue, began to darken around the edges, the clouds gathering like spectators drawn to a spectacle they could not turn away from. The mountain roared. What began as a smattering of raindrops quickly transformed into a torrential downpour. The wind, now a howling force, ripped through the canyons, driving the rain sideways, stinging exposed skin. The temperature plummeted, the air turning bitterly cold, a stark contrast to the searing heat of just moments before. Panic set in. Runners, caught off guard by the sudden ferocity of the storm, struggled to maintain their footing on the slick, rocky trails. Visibility dropped to near zero, the wind and rain creating a blinding curtain of white. The once familiar landscape transformed into a treacherous labyrinth, every step a gamble against the unforgiving terrain. Hypothermia set in with a vengeance, sapping the strength of even the most hardened athletes. The mountain, once a challenge to be conquered, had become a battleground for survival. Confusion reigned. The storm had knocked out communication networks, leaving runners stranded and isolated. Race organizers, caught unprepared for the sudden and dramatic shift in weather, struggled to assess the situation, to make contact with the runners scattered across the vast expanse of the mountain. Precious time slipped away with each passing minute, the window for rescue narrowing as the storm showed no signs of abating. Frantic calls were made, messages relayed through crackling lines, desperate pleas for help met with static and silence. The lack of a coordinated response only amplified the sense of chaos and despair. Runners, shivering in their emergency blankets, huddled together for warmth, their hopes dwindling with each passing hour. The weight of responsibility lay heavy on the shoulders of the race organizers. Amidst the chaos and despair, stories of extraordinary courage and resilience began to emerge. Jukumming, a local shepherd tending his flock in the high pastures, heard the cries for help carried on the wind. He knew the mountain intimately, its treacherous paths and hidden dangers. Without hesitation, he ventured out into the storm, driven by a deep sense of compassion and a profound respect for the power of nature. Guided by the wind and his intimate knowledge of the terrain, Jukumming moved through the storm with a shepherd's grace. He found runners huddled in caves, their bodies racked with cold, their spirits broken by the relentless onslaught. He offered them food, warm clothing, and most importantly, hope. He became a beacon in the storm, a testament to the enduring spirit of human kindness in the face of unimaginable adversity. Deep within a natural crevice in the mountainside, a group of runners huddled together, seeking refuge from the storm's wrath. The air was thick with condensation, the smell of fear and wet wool clinging to their bodies. They shared what little food and water they had left, their voices hushed whispers against the howling wind. Each gust that rattled their makeshift shelter brought with it a fresh wave of cold, seeping into their bones, chilling them to their core. Among them was Liang Jing, a seasoned ultramarathoner, his usual confidence shaken by the events of the day. He had run countless races, endured scorching heat and bone-chilling cold, but nothing could have prepared him for the raw power of the storm. He thought of his family, his wife and children, their faces a distant memory in the darkness. He clung to the hope of seeing them again, the thought a flickering ember in the face of the storm's fury. Time lost all meaning. Hours bled into one another, marked only by the relentless pounding of rain and the occasional flash of lightning that illuminated the terrified faces around him. As the storm raged on, news of the disaster slowly trickled out to the rest of the world. Frantic families gathered, their faces etched with worry as they clung to any scrap of information about their loved ones. Rescue teams, hampered by the treacherous conditions, worked tirelessly to reach the stranded runners. Helicopters battled against the wind, their searchlights cutting through the darkness, searching for any sign of life. Time was of the essence. Every passing hour increased the risk of hypothermia, the cold seeping into the runners' bodies, slowing their metabolisms, pushing them closer to the brink. The world watched and waited, holding its breath, praying for a miracle. Social media became a lifeline, connecting families and friends, sharing updates, offering words of support, and amplifying the call for help. The storm eventually subsided, leaving behind a trail of devastation and heartbreak. 21 runners lost their lives that day, their dreams extinguished on the unforgiving slopes of the Yellow River Stone Forest. The tragedy sent shockwaves throughout China and the global ultramarathon community. Questions were asked, investigations launched, and fingers pointed. The race organizers faced intense scrutiny, their actions, or lack thereof, placed under a microscope. The lack of adequate safety measures, the failure to anticipate the extreme weather conditions, the inadequate communication network, all contributed to the scale of the disaster. The tragedy exposed the inherent risks associated with extreme sports, the delicate balance between pushing boundaries and ensuring safety. Amidst the tragedy, stories of survival emerged, tales of courage, resilience, and the extraordinary lengths to which the human body and spirit can endure. Runners shared their harrowing experiences, their voices trembling with a mix of trauma and gratitude. They spoke of the kindness of strangers, of the selflessness of fellow runners, of the unwavering support of rescue workers. There was Chi Min, who, suffering from severe hypothermia, managed to crawl for hours through the mud and debris, guided by the faint glow of a distant light. He was found by a group of villagers, his body battered, his spirit unbroken. And there was Zhang Xiaotao, who, after losing his way in the storm, stumbled upon an abandoned shepherd's hut where he found shelter and the will to keep going. These stories of survival, while tinged with tragedy, served as a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within us all. The Gansu Ultra-Marathon tragedy served as a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the power of nature and the importance of respecting its unpredictable fury. It highlighted the need for meticulous planning, for robust safety protocols, and for a deep understanding of the environments in which these events take place. It underscored the importance of clear communication, of swift and coordinated rescue efforts, and of the critical role that technology can play in ensuring the safety of participants. The legacy of the tragedy lived on in the hearts of those who experienced it firsthand and in the collective memory of the ultra-marathon community. It inspired changes in race organization, in safety regulations, and in the way runners approach these grueling events. It fostered a greater awareness of the risks involved, a deeper appreciation for the importance of preparedness, and a renewed commitment to prioritizing the safety and well-being of all participants. The mountains may test our limits, but they also reveal our strength.